Welcome to the Best Small Business Show. It is always great to see you, BJ.
You know what, Rich? Summer is officially here today. I am so excited. I can't believe it. And by the way, we want to thank all of our listeners who are reaching out through email, text, Instagram with questions about our topics. Just keep them coming. This topic itself.
Yes.
Came from that.
Yeah, actually, this a number of listeners were talking about how they have toxic people in their organization, and so we thought let's do a podcast on it.
It might be a series. I hate to say it.
Well, today's primary issue is toxic co-founders who are draining your business completely.
Yeah, many of our emails had questions about this. You know, half a year is gone, and you still have that toxic vacuum as a partner hurting your company. Your company.
Yeah.
You know, it's pure execution time.
Exactly.
Someone's got to exit.
Yeah. And we really mean a toxic vacuum. So this whole podcast is about forcing clean exits and making it possible to do that. Here are the steps. So let's introduce the topic and talk a little bit more about it.
Okay. Firing an equity partner creates a massive legal headaches everywhere. You have to be prepared for this, what is going to be happening. I want, Rich, for you to set the stages of this very critical asset extraction.
Well, number one, you want to protect your company's valuation, okay? The valuation of it with your competition, with your customers, with your employees. What you're protecting is the value of the company.
Yeah.
But it's not a breakup, okay?
No.
It's strictly asset retrieval. And you remove the emotion completely. And that's a big thing we're going to be talking about today, treating them like vendors.
Yeah. And I am hoping that you already have your own set of a team of people who support you, meaning accountant, lawyer, business coach, all the things. Because we're going to share the 4 absolutely ruthless strategies to deploy immediately today, and you're going to need your team. If you think about it, cutting the toxic waste out permanently is imperative to work as quickly as you can. Again, we want to reiterate, this is to get rid of a toxic partner.
Okay. Yeah. And almost like an evil partner. But if you have a lazy, ineffectual partner, like somebody that comes in and reads the newspaper and they don't do anything all the time, you could be so much more lenient and work with them to come to a common agreement. We're focusing on toxic.
Yeah. You're talking about documented things that have occurred that are hampering the business and other partners, staff, vendors, customers. This is all things that you can have proof of. Okay, let's go to the first point.
Well, first point is we call it the contractual ambush. You need to get all of your ducks in order and audit the original operating agreements thoroughly. You need to go through your contract and understand what your options are.
You've got to be looking closely for specific buyout clauses immediately. This would have been a fantastic thing to have had done prior to becoming a partner.
Yeah.
But, in some respects, a lot of people use, boilerplate information. But again, your individual team should go through it like a fine-tooth comb.
And by the way, if you do have partners or you're starting a business, absolutely get an attorney and have that attorney be ruthless and ask questions like, well, what happens if one of you is toxic? How do you get rid of it? I'll put that into the contract. So you have all of those things. Yeah. When you're looking through the contract, find specific contract breaches. That's the most important thing. And document absolutely everything. And BJ, you were talking about
Oh,
documenting.
oh my gosh, you have to have like a weekly commentary.
Mhm.
You know, people always joke about journals, but this is like a little data journal that you're keeping track of. You don't know, they probably have the same thing on you.
Yeah.
But be smart. Think of yourself and think of all those little things that micro things that happen that you need to have a record of.
Well, our action step is we want you, after you do all this, to hire an independent external counsel before breathing a word to anyone.
Right. No, no consulting with anybody in the company. No, 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 no. You are never going to use your company lawyer for this. You need confidentiality and support for what's going to happen next.
Yeah, because your attorney that you have for the company, it's a
Yeah.
conflict of interest for them. They represent the entity, the business, not you. And in fact, I talked to an attorney about this. It's their legal obligation to inform your partner immediately that you're doing this because they represent the company, not you. So
Right.
if anybody's doing anything hinky, it's their legal obligation to let all the other partners know what's going on. So you need to go outside and get an independent external counsel.
Exactly. And you know what? Don't sugarcoat this situation. You need a ruthless partnership litigator who can work with you privately. You got to pay for this out of pocket. And you know, a lot of people will push back on that, right, Rich? And they'll
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I don't want, no, you can't do what that person's doing, which is siphoning money off the company. No, pay for it out of pocket and you will reap the rewards of that."
Yeah. And build the entire legal trap in complete, absolute silence. Don't let anybody know what's going on.
Right, right. I would suggest you go watch Devil Wears Prada, okay? The two, because they had a definite switcheroo. And to some respects, you have to be so alert and open. If you show your hand early, it just allows them to sabotage everything that you have built. So quiet, zip it until everything is ready.
Yeah, silence is your leverage. That's the secret. You execute with total agility, but you do it in secret. And you're doing all this behind everyone's back because the minute it gets out, you're done. That's it.
Yeah. And you know what, Rich? A lot of people say this is oh, why would you do that? Why don't you exit? Uh, because I built this company,
Yeah.
because I love the company. So there is a lot of reasons to keep zipped up. Number two, the valuation quarantine. You need to completely isolate the targeted partner from vendor relationships.
Yeah.
So this takes a little time, right? You have to very strategically go through this process.
Yeah. And you want to protect your top tier clients from direct daily influence. Once you start the process, you need to quarantine this toxic partner from everything.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, I think it's like securing all the internal corporate data quietly before making sudden moves. As you know, I'm the all about data girl, and there's ways to do that. And again, it's just proof. It's just supporting the company. Rich, you said it so well. You got to separate the personal from the business.
Yeah.
So just like your lawyer is just for you, you need to act like you're supporting the business.
Yeah, this is almost like firing someone. You want to sever
Yeah.
access to primary corporate communication channels. When you're firing an employee, you get rid of all their passwords, you cut them off from everything.
Yeah. And really locking down all the intellectual property and critical financial accounts, that's all things you have to do, you
Yeah.
know? And it's brutal. You can't believe you have to do it. But Rich, I know you've talked to a lot of people who you said have a plan.
Yeah.
Have a plan because you have to work swiftly. So you need a plan to get this to happen. Your action step actually is revoking administrative access exactly at the time of the ambush meeting begins.
Yeah.
So everybody comes into the meeting, fine, happy, whatever, but it's already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to coordinate, I love this term, a silent kill switch with your IT lead beforehand. So the IT lead is getting rid of access for all of the systems and programs and bank accounts and even key card to get into the building beforehand.
Yeah.
So when they walk into that office, they are persona non grata, or I call it dead man walking.
When you deliver that news is when they lose their email, CRM, and banking. It's imperative that you've thought through all those steps. Don't leave one thing open.
Yeah. You confiscate their company laptop. You confiscate their phone. You ask for all their key card right across the table.
Right.
It's right there.
Short meeting, not a long meeting. You know what? And just never let them return to their desk to pack up their things, right?
Yeah. Box it up later. Zero opportunity for immediate corporate sabotage. I've seen it. I mean, it's also not a pretty thing to watch because people get emotional, they yell, they cry, they cause
Yep.
a scene. It's like walk them out the door.
Right. You've got to have that total digital and physical lockdown because you're protecting the valuation of the company immediately. This
Yeah.
is imperative to remember. Personal stays here, business stays there.
Well, let's
So
talk about a happy thing. A
good.
happy thing now. This podcast is sponsored by New Renew Brand Marketing, a full service agency building strong brands with clarity and vision. Their clients are reaching their goals and objectives with innovative messaging, results driven AI research, and analytics with their audiences front and center. Reach out to BJ Flagg at newrenew.com today.
And this episode is also sponsored by Rich G Business Coaching. Right now, some of you might be carrying a toxic co-founder. Your business is bleeding. Firing a partner with equity isn't a standard breakup. It's an asset extraction. Rich G gives you the exact operational and psychological blueprint to force an exit and protect your valuation. It requires agility, it requires moxie, and you need a bulletproof strategy to execute it. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Spend 20 minutes with Rich. No cost, no pitch. Go to richg.com and take your business back.
Well, let's go to back to our topic.
Yes,
number 3,
yes.
The hostile leverage. Okay.
Right.
What we want to do is make staying incredibly painful financially for that toxic partner.
Right. Cutting discretionary spending completely, demanding strictly impossible operational daily KPIs. These are all things that will bubble up while you're still being silent.
Yeah, offering discounted buyouts for quiet, immediate exits. Look, if you leave right now, we will give you this much money, and you're out the door.
Right. And you know what? Removing their direct reports completely. Right? Just isolating them physically from teams. So you've heard of this before.
Yeah.
Where they basically just sit in their office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the action step we have is present an exploding 48-hour deadline window immediately. And that's the most important thing, because sometimes people could be obstinate and go, well, I'm just going to go sit in my office. Well, you know what? Give them like a 48-hour deadline. Say, look, if you choose this option, you'll get the money and everything like that. If you don't choose the option, it all goes away in 48 hours.
Yeah. And you know what? They're not going to expect you to be this tough, you know? The initial buyout offer must be strict, non-negotiable, and have an expiration date.
Yeah.
You need to, this is where you do not bend.
Yeah. And tell them the cash value drops significantly by, like, say, Friday evening. So you want to give them this strict deadline so they move quickly. Because first they're going to hit you, they're going to be angry and they're going to be petulant. They're going to act like a child. But then they start thinking, you know what? Nobody wants me around here. I might as well take the cash.
Right. And you know what? Creating that immediate financial pressure completely eliminates their ability to stall.
Yeah.
Because they've got to work right away. You know, they got to think right away and think, what do I do? Right. It's you're putting them on the, the heels of their feet.
Yeah, you don't give them like 30 days or anything.
No.
You're asking for trouble. Stalling allows them to hire their aggressive lawyers. And guess what? It drains the resources of the company.
Right. And you know what? Force a rapid, pressured decision while they are still disoriented by this whole entire thing. You know, you getting them completely out of the office and out of the environment stresses the concern that you have for fellow employees, the concern for the company, and the concern for clients, vendors. So you're setting a tone, right?
Yeah, what's interesting about this is everybody's probably thinking, listening to this is like two partners fighting. 9 times out of 10, there are more partners, like 3 or 4 partners. And 3 of the partners are going like, we've got to get rid of Steve. Steve is a toxic partner. He's not doing anything. So it's not 1 against 1. It's like 3 against 1. So usually it's not like
equity partner. You can have an equity partner, right? A silent partner.
Exactly.
There could be, the bank. There could be many different things. So that's where number 4 comes in, the clean exit. Absolutely 0 lingering operational transition period ever allowed. 0.
Yeah, lingering ex-partners, they're going to poison the culture. And they're going to spook clients, vendors, and new investors, new partners. They're going to, it's like, like I said, dead man walking. There's this corpse walking around the office. It's not pretty. It's like zombie. It's like The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was bad enough they were walking around the office and doing nothing.
Yeah.
This is bad. Severing the company ties completely the exact second the buyout completes is mandatory.
Yeah. Yeah. Removing toxic partners, secure your financial future. I remember this happening a lot in corporate, where a higher up would get fired and you'd hear about it. It would be announced like Steve is leaving the company. And then Steve would show up like a few weeks later and hang around the office. And everybody's going like, why is Steve here? And it just sent a chill through the entire company.
Yeah. And you know what? A great action step for that is escorting them out immediately and notifying the team. Yeah. Like your rapid response and your level head, no anger, just level head is imperative at that time.
Yeah. Usually I encourage, you have a company meeting. You tell everybody Steve is no longer a partner here. He's no longer a member of our team. And if you'd like to learn more, talk to us, or if you have concerns, we'll talk to you one-on-one. Don't do it in a group or organization. Do it one-on-one because people could gang up. So, yeah.
Because I think that if you have this all hands meeting right away, exactly like 5 minutes after they left, you're stating what it is. So no rumor mill.
Yeah.
It's like you're stating exactly what occurred and you're controlling the narrative going forward.
Yeah. Call an all hands meeting exactly 5 minutes after they leave, because it's going to get around. It's going to get, I saw Steve walk out the door. He just got here. What's going on?
What's happening? And you know what? State the facts bluntly. Zero apologies, no over-explaining the legalities, especially at this point. You have to zip it. You got to not talk about this. And you also can't badmouth the person. You just have to be
professional.
You have to be very professional.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is a lot of people come up to you afterwards on a one-on-one and go, "Oh man, I'm so glad you got rid of Steve. Man, that guy was just, oh gee." And by the way, I'm just going to say to all our listeners, if your name is Steve, I apologize. I'm just using
we
that
apologize.
Name.
We had to pick a random name.
It just picked a random name. But the message is they moved on. The company is going to accelerate forward without Steve.
Yeah. And you know what? And Rich, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but you really got to reassure your top performers privately. Mm-hmm. There are going to be people afterward, not before, afterward, which, you keep people strictly focused on the exit of the partner, not on other random things. Now, Rich, if they tell you things, I'm of the belief you got to write that all down.
Yeah. You write it all down. You go, "Oh, I didn't know that." And you hear a lot of things that come out afterwards when people leave. So
yeah. Well, because it's not quite over. Yeah. If you know what I mean. There could be a little back and forth with the lawyer.
Well, the whole object of this podcast is to allow you to regain total control of your business, total control of your equity, and most importantly, operational sanity.
Right. We want better people, better business, and better life.
And thank you to our producer, Richard Scalzo, for making us sound great. And thank you for tuning in to the Best Small Business Show.